Please like, share, and subscribe this video to support.
2 U.S. Code Chapter 29, Capitol Police. 2 U.S. Code Subchapter 1, Organization and Administration. 2 U.S. Code Part A, General. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1901, Establishment. Officer Appointments. There shall be a Capitol Police. There shall be a captain of the Capitol Police and such other members with such rates of compensation, respectively, as may be appropriated for by Congress from year to year. The Capitol Police shall be headed by a chief who shall be appointed by the Capitol Police Board and shall serve at the pleasure of the board. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1901A, Capitol Police Board. A. Capitol Police Board. Composition. Redefining mission. 1. Purpose. The purpose of the Capitol Police Board is to oversee and support the Capitol Police in its mission and to advance coordination between the Capitol Police and the Sergeant-at-Arms of the House of Representatives and the Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper of the Senate in their law enforcement capacities in the Congress. Consistent with this purpose, the Capitol Police Board shall establish general goals and objectives covering its major functions and operations to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of its operations. 2. Composition. The Capitol Police Board shall consist of the Sergeant-at-Arms of the House of Representatives, the Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper of the Senate, the Chief of the Capitol Police, and the Architect of the Capitol. The Chief of Capitol Police shall serve in an ex officio capacity and be a non-voting member of the board. B. Initial review and report. Not later than 180 days after February 20th, 2003, the Capitol Police Board shall 1. Examine the mission of the Capitol Police Board and, based on that analysis, redefine the Capitol Police Board's mission, mission-related processes, and administrative processes. 2. Conduct an assessment of the effectiveness and usefulness of its statutory functions in contributing to the Capitol Police Board's ability to carry out its mission and meet its goals, including an explanation of the reasons for any determination that the statutory functions are appropriate and advisable in terms of its purpose, mission, and long-term goals, and 3. Submit to the Speaker and Minority Leader of the House of Representatives and the President pro tempore and Minority Leader of the Senate a report on the results of its examination and assessment, including recommendations for any legislation that the Capitol Police Board considers appropriate and necessary. C. Executive Assistant. 1. Establishment. There shall be established in the Capitol Police an executive assistant for the Capitol Police Board to act as a central point for communication and enhance the overall effectiveness and efficiency of the Capitol Police Board's administrative activities. 2. Appointment. The executive assistant shall be appointed by the Chief of the Capitol Police in consultation with the Sergeant-at-Arms of the House of Representatives and the Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper of the Senate. 3. Duties. The executive assistant shall be assigned to, and report to, the Chairman of the Board. The executive assistant shall assist the Capitol Police Board in developing, documenting, and implementing a clearly defined process for additional tasks assigned to the Capitol Police Board under this section, and shall perform any additional duties assigned by the Capitol Police Board. D. Documentation. 1. Functions and processes. The Capitol Police Board shall document its functions and processes, including its mission statement, policies, directives, and operating procedures established or revised under subsection A-1 or B, and make such documentation available for examination to the Speaker and Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, the President pro tempore and Minority Leader of the Senate, the Chief of the Capitol Police, and the Comptroller General. 2. Meetings. The Capitol Police Board shall document board meetings and make the documentation available for distribution to the Speaker and Minority Leader of the House of Representatives and the President pro tempore and Minority Leader of the Senate. E. Assistance of Comptroller General. Upon request, the Comptroller General shall provide assistance to the Capitol Police Board in carrying out its responsibilities under this subsection. 1. F. References in law. Effect on other laws. 1. Any reference in any law or resolution in effect as of February 20th, 2003, to the Capitol Police Board shall be deemed to refer to the Capitol Police Board as composed under subsection A-2. 2. Nothing in this section shall be construed to affect the jurisdiction, powers, or prerogatives of the Capitol Police Board or its individual members unless specifically provided herein. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1901B, Joint Oversight Hearings. A. In general, the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate and the Committee on House Administration of the House of Representatives, referred to in this section as the committees, are authorized to jointly conduct oversight hearings regarding the Capitol Police Board and may request the attendance of all members of the Capitol Police Board at any such hearing. Members of the Capitol Police Board shall attend a joint hearing under this section, as requested and under such rules or procedures as may be adopted by the committees. B. Timing. The committees may conduct oversight hearings under this section as determined appropriate by the committees, but shall conduct not less than one oversight hearing under this section during each Congress. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1902, Compensation of Chief. The annual rate of pay for the Chief of the Capitol Police shall be the amount equal to the annual rate of basic pay for Level 2 of the Executive Schedule under Section 5313 of Title V. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1903, Chief Administrative Officer. A. Chief Administrative Officer. 1. Establishment. There shall be within the United States Capitol Police an Office of Administration, to be headed by the Chief Administrative Officer, who shall report to and serve at the pleasure of the Chief of the Capitol Police. 2. Appointment. The Chief Administrative Officer shall be appointed by the Chief of the United States Capitol Police, after consultation with the Capitol Police Board, without regard to political affiliation and solely on the basis of fitness to perform the duties of the position. 3. Compensation. The annual rate of pay for the Chief Administrative Officer shall be the amount equal to $1,000 less than the annual rate of pay in effect for the Chief of the Capitol Police. B. Responsibilities. The Chief Administrative Officer shall have the following areas of responsibility. 1. Budgeting. The Chief Administrative Officer shall A. Prepare and submit to the Capitol Police Board an annual budget for the Capitol Police, and B. Execute the budget and monitor through periodic examinations the execution of the Capitol Police budget in relation to actual obligations and expenditures. 2. Financial management. The Chief Administrative Officer shall A. Oversee all financial management activities relating to the programs and operations of the Capitol Police. B. Develop and maintain an integrated accounting and financial system for the Capitol Police, including financial reporting and internal controls, which I. Complies with applicable accounting principles, standards, and requirements, and internal control standards. 2. Complies with any other requirements applicable to such systems. And 3. Provides for I. Complete, reliable, consistent, and timely information which is prepared on a uniform basis and which is responsive to financial information needs of the Capitol Police. 2. The development and reporting of cost information. 3. The integration of accounting and budgeting information. And 4. The systematic measurement of performance. C. Direct, manage, and provide policy guidance and oversight of Capitol Police financial management personnel, activities, and operations, including I. The recruitment, selection, and training of personnel to carry out Capitol Police financial management functions. And 2. The implementation of Capitol Police asset management systems, including systems for cash management, debt collection, and property and inventory management and control. And D. Prepare 1. Annual financial statements for the Capitol Police, and such financial statements shall be audited by the Inspector General of the Capitol Police or by an independent public accountant, as determined by the Inspector General. 3. Information technology. The Chief Administrative Officer shall A. Direct, coordinate, and oversee the acquisition, use, and management of information technology by the Capitol Police. B. Promote and oversee the use of information technology to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of programs of the Capitol Police. And C. Establish and enforce information technology principles, guidelines, and objectives, including developing and maintaining an information technology architecture for the Capitol Police. 4. Human resources. The Chief Administrative Officer shall A. Direct, coordinate, and oversee human resources management activities of the Capitol Police. B. Develop and monitor payroll and time and attendance systems and employee services. And C. Develop and monitor processes for recruiting, selecting, appraising, and promoting employees. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1904, Certifying Officers. A. Appointment of certifying officers of the Capitol Police. The Chief Administrative Officer of the United States Capitol Police, or when there is not a Chief Administrative Officer, the Chief of the Capitol Police, shall appoint certifying officers to certify all vouchers for payment from funds made available to the United States Capitol Police. B. Responsibility and accountability of certifying officers. 1. In general, each officer or employee of the Capitol Police who has been duly authorized in writing by the Chief Administrative Officer, or the Chief of the Capitol Police if there is not a Chief Administrative Officer, to certify vouchers pursuant to subsection A. shall A. Be held responsible for the existence and correctness of the facts recited in the certificate or otherwise stated on the voucher or its supporting papers, and for the legality of the proposed payment under the appropriation or fund involved. B. Be held responsible and accountable for the correctness of the computations of certified vouchers. And C. Be held accountable for and required to make good to the United States the amount of any illegal, improper, or incorrect payment resulting from any false, inaccurate, or misleading certificate made by such officer or employee, as well as for any payment prohibited by law or which did not represent a legal obligation under the appropriation or fund involved. 2. Relief by Comptroller General. The Comptroller General may, at the Comptroller General's discretion, relieve such certifying officer or employee of liability for any payment otherwise proper if the Comptroller General finds A. That the certification was based on official records, and that the certifying officer or employee did not know, and by reasonable diligence and inquiry could not have ascertained, the actual facts, or B. That the obligation was incurred in good faith, that the payment was not contrary to any statutory provision specifically prohibiting payments of the character involved, and the United States has received value for such payment. C. Enforcement of liability. The liability of the certifying officers of the United States Capitol Police shall be enforced in the same manner, and to the same extent, as currently provided with respect to the enforcement of the liability of disbursing and other accountable officers, and such officers shall have the right to apply for and obtain a decision by the Comptroller General on any question of law involved in a payment on any vouchers presented to them for certification. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1905. Deposit and use of reimbursements for law enforcement assistance. A. 1. Any funds received by the Capitol Police as reimbursement for law enforcement assistance from any federal, state, or local government agency, including any agency of the District of Columbia, and from any other source in the case of assistance provided in connection with an activity that was not sponsored by Congress shall be deposited in the United States Treasury for credit to the appropriation for general expenses under the heading United States Capitol Police, or security enhancements under the heading United States Capitol Police. 2. Funds deposited under this subsection may be expended by the Chief of the United States Capitol Police for any authorized purpose, including overtime pay expenditures relating to any law enforcement assistance for which reimbursement described in paragraph 1 is made, and shall remain available until expended. B. This section shall take effect on July 24, 2001, and shall apply to fiscal year 2001 and each fiscal year thereafter. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1905A. Reimbursement for salaries paid for service at Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, the Chief of the Capitol Police is authorized to receive monies from the Department of the Treasury as reimbursements for salaries paid by the Capitol Police in connection with certain officers and members of the United States Capitol Police serving as instructors at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Monies so received shall be deposited in the Treasury of the United States as miscellaneous receipts. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1905B. Notification of obligation. A. Beginning on March 15, 2022. The Chief of the United States Capitol Police shall provide written notice to the Committee on Appropriations of the Senate and the Committee on Appropriations of the House of Representatives before any obligation of funds under Section 1905A(2) of this title that equals or exceeds $100,000. B. This section shall apply with respect to fiscal year 2022 and each fiscal year thereafter. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1906. Disposal of surplus property. A. In general, Within the limits of available appropriations, the Capitol Police may dispose of surplus or obsolete property of the Capitol Police and property which is in the possession of the Capitol Police because it has been disposed, forfeited, voluntarily abandoned, or unclaimed by interagency transfer, donation, sale, trade-in, or other appropriate method. B. Amounts received. Any amounts received by the Capitol Police from the disposition of property under subsection A shall be credited to the account established for the general expenses of the Capitol Police and shall be available to carry out the purposes of such account during the fiscal year in which the amounts are received in the following fiscal year. C. Effective date. This section shall apply to fiscal year 2003 and each fiscal year thereafter. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1907. Transfer of disbursing function. A. In general. 1. Disbursing officer. The Chief of the Capitol Police shall be the disbursing officer for the Capitol Police. Any reference in any law or resolution before February 20th, 2003, to funds paid or disbursed by the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives and the Secretary of the Senate relating to the pay and allowances of Capitol Police employees shall be deemed to refer to the Chief of the Capitol Police. 2. Transfer. Any statutory function, duty, or authority of the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives or the Secretary of the Senate as disbursing officers for the Capitol Police shall transfer to the Chief of the Capitol Police as the single disbursing officer for the Capitol Police. 3. Continuity of function during transition. Until such time as the Chief notifies the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives and the Secretary of the Senate that systems are in place for discharging the disbursing functions under this subsection, the House of Representatives and the Senate shall continue to serve as the disbursing authority on behalf of the Capitol Police. B. Treasury accounts. 1. Salaries. A. In general. There is established in the Treasury of the United States a separate account for the Capitol Police, into which shall be deposited appropriations received by the Chief of the Capitol Police and available for the salaries of the Capitol Police. B. Transfer authority during transition. Until such time as the Chief notifies the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives and the Secretary of the Senate that systems are in place for discharging the disbursing functions under subsection A, the Chief shall have the authority to transfer amounts in the account to the House of Representatives and the Senate to the extent necessary to enable the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives and the Secretary of the Senate to continue to serve as the disbursing authority on behalf of the Capitol Police pursuant to subsection A.3. 2. General expenses. There is established in the Treasury of the United States a separate account for the Capitol Police, into which shall be deposited appropriations received by the Chief of the Capitol Police and available for the general expenses of the Capitol Police. C. Transfer of funds, assets, accounts, records, and authority. 1. In general. The Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives and the Secretary of the Senate are authorized and directed to transfer to the Chief of the Capitol Police all funds, assets, accounts, and copies of original records of the Capitol Police that are in the possession or under the control of the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives or the Secretary of the Senate in order that all such items may be available for the unified operation of the Capitol Police. Any funds so transferred shall be deposited in the Treasury accounts established under subsection B and be available to the Chief of the Capitol Police for the same purposes as, and in like manner and subject to the same conditions as, the funds prior to the transfer. 2. Existing transfer authority. Any transfer authority existing before February 20th, 2003, granted to the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives or the Secretary of the Senate for salaries, expenses, and operations of the Capitol Police shall be transferred to the Chief of the Capitol Police. D. Unexpended balances. Except as may otherwise be provided in law, the unexpended balances of appropriations for the fiscal year 2003 and succeeding fiscal years that are subject to disbursement by the Chief of the Capitol Police shall be withdrawn as of September 30th of the 5th fiscal year following the period or year for which provided. Unpaid obligations chargeable to any of the balances so withdrawn or appropriations for prior years shall be liquidated from any appropriations for the same general purpose, which, at the time of payment, are available for disbursement. E. Hiring authority. Eligibility for same benefits as House employees. 1. Authority. A. In general. The Chief of the Capitol Police, in carrying out the duties of office, is authorized to appoint, hire, suspend with or without pay, discipline, discharge, and set the terms, conditions, and privileges of employment of employees of the Capitol Police, subject to and in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. B. Special rule for terminations. The Chief may terminate an officer, member, or employee only after the Chief has provided notice of the termination to the Capitol Police Board, in such manner as the Board may from time to time require, and the Board has approved the termination, except that if the Board has not disapproved the termination prior to the expiration of the 30-day period which begins on the date the Board receives the notice, the Board shall be deemed to have approved the termination. C. Notice or approval. The Chief of the Capitol Police shall provide notice or receive approval, as required by the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate and the Committee on House Administration of the House of Representatives, as each committee determines appropriate for I. The exercise of any authority under subparagraph A, or 2. The establishment of any new position for officers, members, or employees of the Capitol Police, for reclassification of existing positions, for reorganization plans, or for hiring, termination, or promotion for officers, members, or employees of the Capitol Police. 2. Benefits. Employees of the Capitol Police who are appointed by the Chief under the authority of this subsection shall be subject to the same type of benefits, including the payment of death gratuities, the withholding of debt and health, retirement, Social Security, and other applicable employee benefits, as are provided to employees of the House of Representatives. And any such individuals serving as employees of the Capitol Police as of February 20th, 2003, shall be subject to the same rules governing rights, protections, pay, and benefits in effect immediately before such date until such rules are changed under applicable laws or regulations. F. Repealed. Pub L. 113-76, Div. I. Title I, Section 1002, B. January 17, 2014, 128, Stat 424. G. Effect on existing law. 1. In general. The provisions of this section shall not be construed to reduce the pay or benefits of any employee of the Capitol Police whose pay was disbursed by the Chief Administrative Officer of the House of Representatives or the Secretary of the Senate before February 20th, 2003. 2. Superseding provisions. All provisions of law inconsistent with this section are hereby superseded to the extent of the inconsistency. H. Omitted. I. Effective date. This section and the amendments made by this section shall take effect on February 20th, 2003, and shall apply to fiscal year 2003 and each fiscal year thereafter. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1907A. Authority to transfer amounts between salaries and general expenses. During fiscal year 2014 and any succeeding fiscal year, the Capitol Police may transfer amounts appropriated for the fiscal year between the category for salaries and the category for general expenses, upon the approval of the Committees on Appropriations of the House of Representatives and Senate. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1907B. Funds available for workers' compensation payments. Available balances of expired United States Capitol Police appropriations shall be available to the Capitol Police to make the deposit to the credit of the Employees' Compensation Fund required by Section 8147(b) of Title V. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 1908. Legal Representation Authority. A. In general. 1. Authorization of representation. Any counsel described under Paragraph 2 may, for the purposes of providing legal assistance and representation to the United States Capitol Police Board or the United States Capitol Police, enter an appearance in any proceeding before any court of the United States or of any state or political subdivision thereof, without compliance with any requirement for admission to practice before such court. 2. Counsel. Paragraph 1 refers to A. The General Counsel to the Chief of Police in the United States Capitol Police. B. The Employment Counsel to the Chief of Police in the United States Capitol Police. C. Any attorney employed in the Office of the General Counsel for the United States Capitol Police or the Office of Employment Counsel for the United States Capitol Police. D. The counsel for, or any attorney employed by, any successor office of either office described under subparagraph C. And E. Any attorney retained by contract with either office described under subparagraph C. B. Limitations. 1. Direction for appearance. Entrance of appearance authorized under subsection A shall be subject to the direction of the Capitol Police Board. 2. United States Supreme Court. The authority under subsection A shall not apply with respect to the admission of any person to practice before the United States Supreme Court. C. Effective date. This section shall apply to fiscal year 2004 and each fiscal year thereafter.